I'm out here in the garden today and thought I'd do a little quick video of our okra. And as you can see here, it's doing pretty good this year. And in fact, this year I'd say this is the best thing that's going in our garden. I just picked it this morning, and you can see there's some little okra pods that's coming on there already in a day's time. That this morning that wasn't much there. Here's another little bitty okra there. And the variety that I like is the crimson or Clemson spineless okra. And the reason is this stuff doesn't itch me very bad. Some okras really will itch you, but this stuff here doesn't. And this morning I got a half of a 5-gallon bucket off this. It has to be cut every other day, and it's more than enough okra for me and my wife. My parents, they like it real well. And so anyway, just giving you a little bit about the okra. One year I tried cow horn okra, and I got it down here at the feed store. Well, a man gave it to me. It goes to church with us, and I planted it, and it got really tall, enough that you had to pull it over. But that stuff just itched me to death. And this here doesn't seem to bother me much. So anyway, sorry for the shaky camera here, but I thought I'd come out here and just show you a little bit of it. But the Clemson spineless, that seems to be my favorite variety of okra. I have watered this once this year. We've had enough rains. It's kept the okra coming along pretty good here. And I love okra. My wife fries it with no breading, and I really like it that way. If you haven't ever tried that, give it a try. I'm trying to do a low-carb, gluten-free type diet, and so I eat the okra with no breading, and she fries it, and it is delicious that way. Of course, I like it the most unhealthiest way, and that's fried, but I also like the okra pickled, and I have ate it boiled. It's not my favorite thing boiled unless it's in stew. I like it in stew to add a little bit of it in there. And I do like it breaded. If it's breaded, I'll certainly eat it, but that's not my biggest thing. Something I did this year is I side dressed the okra with a little bit of triple 13. My plants were looking kind of peaked when I first planted them, and last year they did the same thing, and I thought, well, I'll go down through here and I'll side dress it with just a little bit of triple 13, not very much, but just real lightly. And then I took rabbit manure, which is something I do every year, and I mulched it with rabbit manure. And then I put a soaker hose down. I've got 2 rows here, and I watered them just one time, and the rest, we got a little rain early this morning before I picked the okra, and we've been getting rains. This morning we got like 3/10 of an inch, which isn't a lot, but it's enough that it's keeping stuff greened up and looking good. But anyway, if you've never grown okra, give it a try. It's a fun food. I soak my seeds in bleach like overnight. I'll just real light bleach water overnight, and it seems like it helps the shell to begin to germinate when you plant it. Sometimes it'll already be coming out of the shell a little bit, and you plant that and it seems like it comes up really good. This was super thick this year, and I had to thin it out, and it's still, as you can tell, the plants are really thick together. I like it thick because it seems to keep the weeds and stuff down. Another thing I do is when I cut the okra, where I cut a pod off, like right here, I'll go ahead and usually cut this stem off right here. You don't have to do that, but you can see some down here where I have cut the stems off on these lower limbs. The lower limbs tend to get a little wilty and everything, and I think it drains a lot of your energy from your plant. So when you cut the okra, cut that stem that's right there with that pod of okra, and I think it does a whole lot better that way. but you don't have to. I know some people that don't, and they seem to have success. You want to leave plenty of green, though, up here on top, because that's where you get your energy from. The sun transforms everything, so if you cut off all your leaves, of course, then you're not going to get much. But when it's hot weather, it seems like okra likes it when it's hot. It's been getting around 100 every day here, and with just a little bit of water, like I say, I've watered it one time, and in the little rains we've been getting, this is some of the prettiest okra I've had. I'll show you right here. You can see this here stalk. Now that stalk, if you tried to pull that, you couldn't pull that out of the ground. That stalk is a big, nice, pretty stalk, and that's what you like to have, and you like for them to get down deep rooted, so when it gets dry they can still make some okra. I don't like to water unless I just have to, and it's an added expense because we're on rural water and it costs you more money, but I will, if I have to, I'll water it to keep it coming. But it won't be long that I'll have all this okra that I want. My parents will have all they want, and then we'll just let it go to seed, and the pods will get big. And when it frosts, I'll go out and pick those pods off, let them dry, and the next spring you can get the seeds right out of there and replant again, and they'll come up like crazy. I usually get a lot of voluntary okra pods up around the garden every year. I did not this year for some reason, but usually I get a ton of it. And I usually rotate my crops. I think most people do that, but I don't plant the okra in the same spot every year. I think probably would be good for diseases. I really just don't know here in Oklahoma what kind of disease you could have. I have just a little bit of trouble with stuff eating on the leaves, but that's very little. I don't care about that. That's not enough to hurt. They never do kill the okra, but okra is pretty easy. My mom lived up in Pennsylvania. If you're from up north, her husband worked up there for a while, and they were up there, and she tried to get okra at the supermarket, and they didn't even know what she was talking about. So I guess the further north, maybe you don't have enough hot weather or long enough days to grow okra, or maybe they just don't much care for it, may be the thing. But this is kind of a southern thing, and people around here in the south love okra. My wife also makes an okra salad that's really good. Anyway, I thought I'd give you a little weekly update. It's July 2018 and July 16th, 2018, and thought I'd show you how the okra is doing here on Cedar Creek Homestead. Hope you have a blessed day. We'll see you later.